Well, hello, this is Jamie from the ClassLink Academy. We have a wonderful partner spotlight today, and we are focusing on a product called First in Math. Now, at ClassLink, we like to host these partner spotlights, but what we really do is single sign-on and rostering. You can see our launchpad here. We provide streamlined access to all of the EdTech tools that teachers and students need for that easy, seamless access. And we do that through our single sign-on. It's a portal, that one-stop shop for all of the EdTech tools, but it remembers their password for all of the users. But also we have rostering access, which allows tech admin or teachers to easily get accounts provisioned for teachers and students. And with that single sign-on and rostering, that's accomplished through partnerships that are established with the EdTech vendors. And we love to showcase all of those partners that we have. And today, as I mentioned, our spotlight is on First in Math. So First in Math obviously is a math tool. There are lots of different amazing components to it, and we're going to hear all about it today from the inventor, the founder, the CEO, Robert Sun. Hello, Bob. How are you?
Hi, Jamie. Hi. Thank you for having us on.
Yes, absolutely. I'm really interested in hearing about First in Math. I used to be an elementary and middle school math and science teacher. So I want to hear about all of the things that I would have missed out on not having this when I was teaching. So right. Let's hear all about it.
Okay, so my training was in engineering. I worked for many years as an electrical engineer, graduating from the University of Pennsylvania. My daily routine was solving problems as an engineer. And for the past 30 years, I've worked with tens of millions of kids in mathematics. And here's what I found. When a mind is anxious or fearful, it cannot solve the simplest of problems. So if we want to make headway in math achievement, our first task is to ease that anxiety that kids have about math. Now, why are children, pardon me?
Maslow's theory, right? We have to have those needs satisfied, and being anxious, we're not going to get anywhere.
So why are kids anxious about math? Well, the reason they're anxious is because they know they're unprepared. And the reason they're unprepared is they have not practiced. And the reason they haven't practiced is they have not received immediate feedback to make that practice meaningful. In order for a child to make practice, they must be learning. And if you don't have immediate feedback, you're not going to learn. It's like I ask you to practice shooting foul shots in basketball. And kids love to practice sports because our physical senses give us that immediate feedback. But when you're ready at the line to go, I take away your feedback loop. I put a blindfold, I put in earplugs. You shoot that ball, can't see where the ball goes. Now, you're not going to stand there and do that activity for any length of time, because without immediate feedback, it quickly becomes boring and meaningless activity. Prior to technology and the internet, the only way that we could get immediate feedback with an academic skill, because unfortunately we don't have a built-in feedback mechanism to tell you if you're doing math right or wrong.
Right.
We had to rely on another person to serve that function. But the minute we have to perform in front of another, our mind gets anxious. We're worried about making mistakes, being judged, being criticized, and to avoid that discomfort, kids just did not do it. I designed First in Math in 2002 because I understood that the real power of the internet is we finally now have a cost-effective way to offer kids immediate feedback. And if we do it without judgment, actually kids relish practicing math. For instance, students have solved more than 27.6 billion mathematics problems correctly on our site since it was launched. Did not skip a single beat during the pandemic. More than 2.4 billion problems solved now since schools closed. And before remote learning started, our analysis showed that 47% of the activity on First in Math occurred outside of school. This is when you know if a program's engaging, if they want to do it, no longer mandated anymore.
Yeah, right.
Now, First in Math was designed as a low lift for teachers. Teachers can get started with the program. There's not a lot of complicated things they got to learn. We encourage them to allow kids to get onto the site to explore, because once they have control, those children will take ownership. And as they play, they're going to see their skills improve. And I'm going to show you the high impact that First in Math can have for students with some of our success stories.
Excellent.
Now, when you look at the amount of time spent for practice versus teaching in the realm of sports and music, where children get immediate feedback through our physical senses, you can see that the practice component is usually 5 to 10 times more than the teaching part. Now, our kids are taught 45 minutes a day in math. If they were practicing 5 to 10 times, they'd be doing 6 hours of math every night. You know that's not going on. In fact, if anything, it's the mirror opposite. Child does an hour's worth of homework split among 4 or 5 subjects. Math gets 10, 15 minutes. That discrepancy is why it has been so difficult. Now, every First in Math game starts off simple. It's adaptive. We start out easy to ease that anxiety. The minute we confirm success, which is usually a short cycle play, a matter of seconds with some games, we then start bringing in the rigor, but it's done on a gradient, so it always feels within reach. And kids surprise how far they can go. We have many second grade, first grade, kindergarten students get out to the end of the game. This is what they're trying to solve. 3 variables, both bars. This game doesn't rely on numbers. It's basically pattern detection. And patterns, of course, are the language of mathematics. This scaffolding that you see within a game, we also carry through series of games. This is our more or less, starts with kindergarten. And then as they advance, they move into numbers. It'll take them from single, double, triple digits. We have a game for decimals, for fractions. We even have an algebra game where we will give you the value for the variable. You must compute that expression, decide where it falls on the numbers line. Now, algebra is a subject that's really difficult for middle schools. You would think that this is something that is an incredibly complicated subject that only brainiacs can master. What's ironic is the concept behind algebra is really easy. Here I have a variable x I can assign a value to. Kids grasp that right away because it's really the concept of a joker when you're playing cards. Tell me what value you want the joker to be. That's it conceptually for algebra. Algebra is difficult because it's the first time they no longer look at math in a narrow way. They have to look at it broadly, and they have to incorporate a half a dozen foundational skills listed here in red, all of which have to work together. So algebra is like an orchestra. You cannot have any weaknesses. Just like a child, weak with basic facts, weak with fractions, didn't practice their violin, you stick that kid in an orchestra, you know what the results are going to be. We have now just launching for next season an algebra suite where we have a game specifically designed to build strength and mastery in each of those 6 foundational skills needed to succeed in algebra. And we start exposing algebra to children at a very early stage. We have an early algebra tiles for grade 1. And then we move into elementary for the grades 2, 3, and then move into the full 6 foundational skills needed. Now, there are basically 4 main points in math that most schools and school districts struggle with. We have found solutions for these biggest challenges. One is fact fluency. Everybody knows that's a big sore thumb. Next is fractions. We have a fractions fest. There are 15 games already designed, and I'm working on something called the VIFs fractions. The VIFs is the module we use that build fact fluency in the quickest, most efficient way, and I'm going to elaborate on this in a minute. The third pain point is word problems, and we have a what do you know 2.0 that teachers can pick a grade, pick a subject, assign a quick 10-minute test, pulse, quick check exactly how students are in the topics that they're teaching and how they work with word problems. We have a know and show module that has a deep pool of thousands of questions that will give kids plenty of practice in this area. And of course, the fourth thing is algebra, which is the algebra suite was designed to address. Now, let me talk about fact fluency. This has been a thorn in the side for
yes.
pardon me?
I said, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the foundation, and we hate the, the drill, 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 but there are some things that they just need to practice on. And then, just as you mentioned, it's the foundational skill. They need to have this to move forward with any other type of math.
Well, it turns out the reason this has been such a problem was we're inundating our kids with a lot of noise. It's making the whole process laborious and painful. We're asking kids to memorize hundreds of facts. Here's an example: 100 facts we want you to memorize, but it's only addition, only deals with single digits up to 9. By the time you add all 4 operations in all days, we were asked to memorize 400 facts. The reality is, I've discovered there's actually only 16 facts that a child needs to know from memory
Ooh.
to master both addition and subtraction. These we call the very important facts. If this is what is presented to a child at the beginning, it's not scary, it's very doable. Once they nail it, now we got something solid we can count on to build upon. And if we do it in the proper order, we can take these kids way beyond basic fact fluency. The
Wow.
VIF module contains a sequence line, can't jump out of sequence. The little blue dots
Mhm.
are the instructional videos, so the
Okay.
instructional component is there. The minute the first concept is presented, the 0 rule, there's going to be a game following. All the games are little red dots. That game will offer the child plenty of practice.
Hmm.
Can't make progress in the game if you're not doing the work. So by the time they complete a game, we have confirmation they've mastered the concept. Only then does the next video open up. So in this strategic integration, I can control exactly which skills are being built in what order, and the end result is we can go way beyond. For instance, game 14 is your traditional measure, 100 facts, 3 seconds or less. We take children all the way to the end where they're handling any 2 double-digit numbers. Now, if they were relying strictly on memorization, they'd have to memorize 10,000 facts.
Wow.
The VIF module has been a lifesaver during the pandemic. The instructional component is there, the practice is there through the
Right.
games, no load on teachers. Our servers automatically adapt to the pace and progress of each individual child. We now have demonstrated examples of students in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, mastering a skill that a lot of adults struggle with. So we've proven that this is an extremely efficient and quick way to deal with this problem of fact fluency and automaticity.
Wow.
VIF module is now available in all 4 operations, and you can see with multiply, we're way beyond 100 facts of the times table. We're now working with school districts where 60%, 70% of all 4th grade students, by the time they leave 4th grade, have mastered the ability to multiply any 2 double-digit or divide a 4-digit number by a double-digit number. Our goal is to have fact fluency nailed by the end of 4th grade, and then you can then move on into fractions,
Okay.
decimals, higher order mathematics. Give you an
Fantastic.
example of the impact that this can have. Marvine Elementary, Bethlehem School District, which we worked with, a Title I school, 96% of students on free reduced lunch. In their 4th grade, 75% of those 4th grade kids in that Title I school could multiply any 2 double-digit numbers. When the data came out, they had a whopping 33% jump on the standardized tests for the Pennsylvania PSSA tests. Across all tested grades, they actually had a 25 percentage point increase over a 2-year period. This is a school that transformed itself from Title I to receiving the National Blue Ribbon Award, only one of 367 schools out of 100,000 schools in the nation to receive this distinction in 2020.
Incredible. Wow.
And as you know, to move the needle in math, you need a program that's sustainable, affordable. There's no magic bullet. We've been in the school district of Philadelphia for more than a decade, over a 9-year period. Every single year, they had
Wow.
increases in percentage of students scoring proficient above on the Pennsylvania state standardized tests.
Wow.
So here's a video, which I don't know if you have the opportunity to play, so that the viewers get a sense of exactly what happens when you transform the culture of a school to one of excitement, success, and growth.
All right. Let's check it out.
Sometimes it's the first thing a student does in the morning. They come in, they get unpacked, and they play First in Math as the teacher's taking lunch count. First in Math creates a culture of camaraderie amongst all of our staff and our students, and they're starting to cheer on each other, and they celebrate their successes that they achieve throughout the school year or as they're moving through the different levels. So those students who really excel in our school, they're almost like celebrities.
This year's champions, KC.
We have over 190 grand champions. We are approaching 13 million problems solved, which is the most that we've ever done, as we were the #4 school in the nation. We were the #1 school in New Jersey. And to all of our students and our staff, I cannot tell you how proud I am of their hard work, their determination, their goal setting, and meeting those goals and taking pride as they walk down that hallway and look for their picture on our wall of fame and show that excitement, knowing that they are part of our school that has done such an amazing job using the First in Math program. The teachers love that students can choose what they want to do, but they also love that there's games and activities that also support what they're learning in the classroom. And our early grades are focusing on that K2 world, and then our higher students are 5th graders who are at the top of the chain here at our school, getting ready for middle school. You know, these are students who start to move into that computational thinking world, start to explore some of the pre-algebra games and activities where they experience negative numbers and positive numbers and order of operations and different types of math that they're even going to see in 6th grade and 7th grade and throughout their entire schooling.
Great. So First in Math is really, really easy when you use something like ClassLink, because the logging in is just taken care of by this wonderful platform. Students can jump right in, select the game they like. We have games for remedial, and we have games that will challenge the most brilliant minds, so we can suit all the needs. We have a very unique family link feature where a parent gets an extra username, password, and of course the dialogue in math becomes very substantive at home when that occurs.
Yeah, they're bridging that. I mean, I just think, and even from that video, it's highly engaging, it's highly interactive, it's personalized, and it's great for blended learning approach as well. And having that home component as well, I can only imagine really builds that even more.
Right. You know, we focus on not just building strong foundational math skills, but really we have games. We have a CT world, computational thinking, where we bring in visual click and code. The coding is not the barrier, but the coding requires kids to think maybe 10, 15 steps ahead, keep track of all the moves in their head without getting confused. This is the deep problem solving skills that employers are going to value when our children get out into the workforce. And First in Math has a season. It's 8-month long. It's longer than the major sports league, longer than NBA, NFL. And for these kids, they require to develop persistence, diligence, focus, you know, not get derailed by any kind of obstacles or difficulty. And so they're also building character, which is essential.
Yes.
So there are many reasons for using First in Math, and you know we have a slide that will describe these things. It's been fully researched. That situation in Morbine, there was a full research study done by Lehigh University, peer-reviewed, published study. We also have mechanisms for intentional goal setting. We have something called the Goals Index that focuses children on 4 key areas that's going to translate to higher test scores, not just activity. And if kids only play the games they like, they'll never get more than 25, because each of these sectors contribute 25 points to this 100 in the middle here. We want them to, in fact, fluent all 4 operations. We want them to have procedural fluency, learn to handle multi-step, open-ended problems, setting up equations. And lastly, they need to master word problems. So when the program rolls out, very low lift for teachers. Allow the kids to get on, explore, take ownership. And once we start looking at the assessment data, when you're ready to move into intentional goal setting, we have all of that ready for you. We also have something called the focus mode, where the games that the kids sees have been curated appropriate for their grade level, because we have more than 265 digital games that span from pre-K all the way beyond middle school. And teachers have complete control of either narrowing the focus or broadening the focus. This has been very successful and very popular. We have full assessments, and because First in Math is so engaging, you don't have to constantly be testing kids to assess where they are. It's something that we call stealth assessment. Everything they're doing, you can see on First in Math. We have assessment reports, and we have it at the district level, school level, at the classroom level. So as an example, as a teacher, you have a pop-up menu. Everything that a student does, you can see. If you want to go into the very important facts, here's your report. Every game they finish will turn color. You scroll over a game, it will tell you the last time they logged on, how much time it took them. Lots of really useful information.
Yeah, that data is really critical for teachers to make next step decisions with their instruction.
Absolutely.
Either it's a whole group or individualized as well.
Absolutely. And you can get that data and see that data without constantly testing these kids. That's the beauty of an engaging program.
Ongoing, informative, right? So important.
So we have a full two-way encrypted messaging built right into First in Math. It's been very useful during remote learning. Teachers can use this to assign content. So from any of the assessment reports, they can click on a link. It automatically is copied, send it to the child. When the child clicks the link, it takes them right to the game, really easy. And lastly, we have automatic recognition. The minute a child succeeds, they're going to get recognized in their mailbox. Player of the day, student who solved the most math problems in the past 24 hours in that class. Click on the view certificate, it opens up. Your teacher's name can be here. This is going to be taken home, shown to parents, neighbors, lots of good grassroots exposure for schools about not only the excitement, but the concrete skills that students are building as a result of your school district's efforts.
Immediate feedback, it's great. We are so proud to be able to help with that quick access to First in Math for teachers and students. That OAuth integration that your team has spent so much time on to establish as part of our partnership actually eliminates the username and password altogether. It's a click and go situation. They click right on it and in they can get to First in Math. So we're so proud to be able to provide that increased learning time. And I think it adds to the individualized component that First in Math provides. You mentioned several times how kids can be independent with it. And so this way, this adds to it because it's a single sign-on into ClassLink, and then they can, with no username and password at all, because of that trust established with the OAuth SSO, they can just get right in. So that's really
I think it's a key piece because, you know, you take anything that a child has to practice, if it's sports, if it's music, if it takes 10, 15 minutes to get prepared before you can jump in the game, kids are not going to do it. Here with ClassLink, boom, you're right in and you can start the action immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's super easy to get those accounts created with the use of the roster server from the student information system into the roster server. And then that data is secure. It is owned by the district, and the district decides which users are supposed to have the accounts. They set the rules to send those off to First in Math. You receive them and then create those accounts. And because of the OAuth app, when students and teachers sign into ClassLink, they are known who they are in First in Math, and they can get going with the work they need to do. So I think that's super easy. And Nan is in here behind the scenes if you want to add anything, but does it make a difference on your end? Is it helpful on your end as well?
It is. It's very helpful, and it's terrific when districts who are taking all those steps that are on the screen contact me to let me know that they're there so that I can, you know, perform the magic on our side of things. So thank you to ClassLink.
That's wonderful. We're so happy to be part of that process. All
So
right.
Jamie, if I may just introduce one additional point, we were recently awarded a 5-year contract from the New York State Department of Education. They have funded already First in Math for over 1 million K-5 students throughout the state of New York at no cost to the schools. We're in the 2nd year of our program, so there's 3 more years to go. Any of those school districts that are listening that are from New York, please take advantage of this, because through ClassLink, you could have this platform up and running in your districts, and we will work with you to create success stories for you. I have a
Wow.
similar initiative happening here in the state of Pennsylvania, and it's my goal to do this in 10 states. So keep your ears out.
That's fantastic. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Here is some contact information with Robert and where you can access them. I guess you're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yeah, we have a YouTube channel now. There's lots of really good videos. So, and
Good.
Nan is the one to contact if you want to get rolling. She'll help you.
All right. Very nice.
Well, thank you
Bye,
very
Nan.
much, Jamie.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
value our partnership and working with you.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you very much. Stay healthy and stay well, everyone.
Great. Bye.